Leo, August 17th, 2026, may begin quietly, but beneath that calm surface, something is preparing to change. You may not see the full picture in the morning. You may not even understand why certain conversations, memories, or opportunities suddenly feel more important than usual. But by the end of the day, you could look back and realize that one small moment revealed something significant about your future. This is not simply a day about what happens around you. It is about what awakens inside you. A conversation may challenge your assumptions. A professional opportunity may appear from an unexpected direction. Someone from your past may return to your thoughts. A financial decision may require greater maturity. And in your emotional life, you may finally understand that you cannot continue carrying responsibilities that were never truly yours. Leo, August 17th asks you to pay attention to what feels different. Because sometimes life changes its direction before it changes its appearance. If you are a Leo and this reading resonates with you, take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Stay until the end, because today's message explores your career, money, love, relationships, emotional world, social circle, personal growth, and the quiet decision that could influence what comes next. The morning may begin with a strong sense of responsibility. There could be several things demanding your attention. Work, family, messages, plans, financial obligations. Someone may need your help. And because you naturally have a strong protective side, your first instinct may be to take control. You may think, "I'll handle it." But today, Leo, that phrase deserves a second look. Are you handling something because it truly belongs to you? Or are you handling it because you are afraid that nobody else will do it properly? There is a difference. August 17th may reveal just how much energy you've been spending managing situations that other people should be managing themselves. You can be supportive without becoming responsible for everyone. You can lead without carrying every burden. You can love people without solving every problem they have. And this realization may become especially important in your professional life. At work, someone could notice your confidence and reliability. A manager may trust you with an important task. A colleague could ask for your guidance. A client may return. A previous professional contact may reach out. Or you may hear about an opportunity that was not available to you before. The interesting part is that this opportunity may not look spectacular at first. It may begin with a simple conversation. Someone might say, "Have you ever thought about doing this?" Or, "Would you be interested in working on this project?" Or, "I know someone who might need your skills." Don't dismiss such conversations. For Leo, August 17th carries strong energy around visibility and recognition. You may discover that people have been observing your abilities for longer than you realized. Your work may have created a reputation quietly, and now that reputation could begin opening doors. If you've been thinking about changing jobs, applying for a promotion, launching a business, starting a personal project, building an online presence, creating content, or developing a skill, this is a good day to take the idea seriously. You don't have to make an impulsive move. Prepare. Research. Organize. Build the strategy. The strongest leaders know that confidence without preparation becomes recklessness. Your confidence is powerful today, but your patience will determine how effectively you use it. Financially, August 17th asks you to think beyond immediate satisfaction. You may receive money, hear about an opportunity, or begin considering a new source of income. But today's energy is less about sudden wealth and more about financial intelligence. You may realize that your money needs a clearer purpose. Perhaps you've been spending too much on things that give you temporary excitement. Perhaps you've been helping people financially while neglecting your own goals. Perhaps you have been waiting for a larger income before beginning to save. Or perhaps you have an idea that could eventually create another income stream. Whatever the situation, today encourages you to think long-term. Ask yourself, What decision today could make my life easier 6 months from now? That question can change the way you use money. If unexpected income appears, don't immediately turn it into a luxury purchase. Give some of it a job, savings, debt reduction, education, professional development, a business idea, something that creates future value. Leo, financial confidence doesn't come only from earning more. It also comes from knowing that you can trust yourself with what you already have. And there may be another financial message hidden inside today's energy. Your talents may be more valuable than you realize. Maybe you're naturally good at leadership. Maybe you know how to motivate people. Maybe you are creative. Maybe you understand social media. Maybe you're good at speaking, teaching, organizing, selling, designing, performing, or managing. Something that feels natural to you could eventually become a source of income. Don't underestimate a skill simply because it doesn't feel difficult. Sometimes your greatest gift is precisely the thing you do without realizing how rare it is. As the day continues, the emotional atmosphere becomes much more personal. You may begin thinking about the past. Someone's words. Someone's rejection. Someone's criticism. A relationship that ended. A friendship that changed. A dream that didn't happen. There was a time when someone else's opinion could completely change the way you saw yourself. There was a time when rejection felt like proof that you weren't enough. There was a time when you believed that if someone didn't choose you, something must have been wrong with you. Someone else's inability to recognize your value does not reduce your value. Someone else's rejection does not define your future. Someone else's criticism does not become your identity. And Leo, that realization can be incredibly liberating. You may finally stop trying to prove yourself to people who already decided not to understand you. You may stop explaining, stop defending, stop chasing, stop performing for approval, and start living for yourself. This emotional shift naturally affects your love life. Your partner may want more emotional attention. You may want more appreciation. There could be a conversation about the future. Maybe one of you has been thinking about long-term plans, living arrangements, financial goals, commitment, family, or simply what the relationship needs in order to feel stronger. Don't avoid meaningful conversations because you are afraid they might become uncomfortable. A healthy relationship can survive honesty. In fact, it needs honesty. Tell your partner what you actually need. But don't turn the conversation into a competition. You don't need to prove who is right. You need to understand each other. And Leo, remember something important. Being strong does not mean always pretending that you don't need reassurance. You deserve tenderness too. You deserve someone who notices when your energy is low. Someone who asks how you are without waiting for you to collapse. Someone who celebrates your victories without competing with you. Someone who can stand beside your ambition without feeling threatened by it. If your relationship already has that foundation, August 17th can strengthen it. But if you've been giving more than you receive, today's energy may make that imbalance impossible to ignore. For single Leo natives, there could be an interesting romantic possibility. It may come through work, a social event, a friend, a professional connection, travel, online communication, or simply a conversation you didn't expect to become meaningful. This person may be confident but not necessarily loud. They may have their own ambitions, their own identity, their own direction, and that could immediately attract you. You may feel that this person isn't looking for someone to complete them. They are looking for someone to build alongside. That is an important distinction. Don't rush. Let the connection develop. Pay attention to consistency. Someone can say all the right things during the first conversation, but what matters is what they do afterward. And if someone from your past returns, be especially careful. The emotional intensity may be strong. You may suddenly remember the best moments. But don't allow nostalgia to erase the difficult ones. Ask yourself, if nothing about this person changed, would I still want the same relationship again? If the answer is no, then perhaps the past is simply asking to be understood, not repeated. Your social environment may also become revealing today. You could discover that someone genuinely supports you. Perhaps a friend gives you advice. Someone introduces you to a useful contact. A colleague recommends you, or someone simply tells you something you needed to hear. At the same time, you may become more aware of relationships that feel competitive or emotionally draining. Leo, you don't need to fight with people who don't support you. You don't need to expose them. You don't need to create drama. You can simply step back. Your social circle should not constantly feel like a stage where you have to prove your worth. You deserve people who can celebrate your success without feeling diminished by it. People who can tell you the truth without trying to control you. People who are happy when you grow. And August 17th may help you recognize those people more clearly. Psychologically, today brings a powerful lesson about identity. You may have spent a long time being the strong one, the leader, the person who knows what to do, the person who helps, the person who takes responsibility, the person who keeps going. But what happens when the strong one becomes tired? What happens when the person everyone depends on needs support? You may discover that you don't have to maintain the image of strength every second of every day. You are allowed to rest. You are allowed to admit that something hurt. You are allowed to say, I don't know. You are allowed to ask for help. And none of that makes you weaker. It makes you human. August 17th may therefore become a day of emotional release. You may finally let go of something you have been carrying privately. A disappointment, a fear, a need for approval, a relationship expectation, a dream that no longer fits. And when you release it, you may notice something surprising. You have more energy, because carrying the past is exhausting. Your physical energy may reflect this emotional process. If you've been working too hard, slow down. If you've been sleeping poorly, take it seriously. If you've been constantly surrounded by noise, create some quiet. Your body cannot endlessly support an overloaded mind. Take a walk. Get fresh air. Eat properly. Rest. Spend time away from screens. Do something that reminds you that your life is more than productivity. And when you create that space, you may hear your intuition more clearly. Leo, intuition can sometimes arrive as a sudden certainty. You may look at a person and know that something is different. You may hear an idea and immediately recognize its potential. You may walk away from a situation without being able to explain why. Don't ignore these feelings. But don't blindly follow them either. Use intuition as your first signal. Then use logic to confirm what you feel. Your heart may recognize the direction before your mind understands the details. As evening approaches, August 17th may become increasingly reflective. You may start thinking about what you actually want from your next chapter. Not what looks impressive. Not what makes other people jealous. Not what sounds successful. What actually makes you happy? That question may be more difficult than you expect. Because Leo can sometimes become attached to the image of success. But there is a difference between being admired and being fulfilled. You can have recognition and still feel empty. You can have attention and still feel lonely. You can have money and still feel insecure. You can have a relationship and still feel unseen. August 17th encourages you to look beyond appearances. What makes your heart feel alive? What gives your life meaning? What kind of people make you feel safe enough to be yourself? What kind of work makes you proud when nobody is watching? Those answers matter more than applause. You may also realize that one of your old goals no longer feels right. And that's okay. You are allowed to evolve. You are allowed to change direction. You are allowed to decide that something you once wanted is no longer what you need. Your life is not a contract you signed with your younger self. You can rewrite parts of it. Think of your future like a stage after the audience has left. The lights are still on. The room is still there. But now you are alone with yourself. And without the applause, without the expectations, without everyone else's opinions, you have to decide what kind of story you actually want to perform. August 17th may help you answer that question. There is also a hidden warning for you today. Don't make an important decision simply because your pride has been hurt. Someone may underestimate you. Someone may criticize you. Someone may reject your idea. Someone may behave as though you are not important. Your first instinct may be to prove them wrong. But don't build your future around proving someone else wrong. Build it around proving yourself right about who you can become. That is a much more powerful motivation. If someone walks away, let them. If someone doesn't recognize your worth, don't beg them to. If an opportunity closes, learn what it taught you. Because sometimes a closed door isn't an insult. Sometimes it is redirection. By the end of August 17th, you may notice a quiet shift. Maybe nothing dramatic happens externally. But inside, something becomes clearer. You may know which person deserves another chance. Which person doesn't. Which opportunity deserves your attention. Which financial habit needs to change. Which career goal deserves more commitment. Which emotional burden you are finally ready to release. And that clarity is valuable. Leo, you don't have to transform your entire life overnight. One decision is enough. One honest conversation. One boundary. One application. One financial plan. One decision to stop chasing. One decision to start believing in yourself again. Small decisions become habits. Habits become patterns. Patterns become your future. So don't underestimate the quiet choices you make today. August 17th could be the beginning of a chain of events that becomes much more important later. A conversation could lead to an opportunity. An opportunity could lead to a new career direction. A new connection could become a meaningful relationship. A financial decision could create greater security. A boundary could create emotional freedom. You may not know which moment matters most while it is happening. That is why you need to remain present. Listen. Observe. Think. And don't rush. Leo, you have spent enough time proving that you can survive difficult situations. Now the question is different. Can you allow yourself to build a life that doesn't constantly require survival? Can you choose peace without feeling guilty? Can you choose stability without thinking you've lost your ambition? Can you choose love that feels safe rather than love that constantly needs to be chased? Can you choose success that feels meaningful rather than success that simply looks impressive? Those are the questions August 17th places before you. And perhaps the most important answer will come from inside. You may realize that your next chapter doesn't need to be louder. It needs to be more authentic, more honest, more intentional, more aligned with who you are becoming. So, Leo, as August 17th unfolds, watch the small moments. The unexpected message, the unusual conversation, the financial idea, the memory that returns, the person who surprises you, the opportunity that appears quietly, and the feeling inside you that says, "Something about my life is changing." Don't be afraid of that feeling. Growth often feels uncertain before it feels exciting. You are not losing yourself. You are removing the parts of yourself that were created only to survive other people's expectations. And once those layers fall away, the real you becomes easier to see. When August 17th comes to an end, don't ask only, "What happened today?" Ask, "What did today reveal about the life I truly want?" The answer may change the way you approach everything that follows. Because Leo, your future does not need another performance. It needs your truth. You don't have to chase applause. You don't have to convince everyone. You don't have to prove your worth. You simply need to keep walking toward the version of yourself that you respect. August 17th, 2026 may not be the day when the entire world changes around you, but it could be the day when something inside you changes enough to alter the direction of your future. And sometimes that is where the biggest transformations begin. Not with fireworks, not with noise, but with one quiet decision, one honest realization, one brave step, and one powerful thought. I am no longer willing to live a life that is smaller than the person I am becoming. Leo, remember that, because the moment you stop living for approval and start living with purpose, your light becomes impossible to ignore.